Hello and welcome. I am Daisy, your hostess. This is my TNT segment. I haven't done it for a while. This is actually by request. I received a couple of you folks saying, "Hey, when's your next TNT session going to be?" And why not do it on this particular topic? Trump okays release of Epstein lists. Now what? And that is a good question. Now what? Your guess is as good as mine, right? So why not consult the tarot? This is an opportunity to talk about these trending news with levity. So yes, I do ask that we approach it with that lightness and respect. So I thank you for visiting with me. If you're new to my channel, well, it's quite an eclectic place. And to my family and friends and subscribers, welcome back. Now for a quick disclaimer, yes, this video is made for entertainment purposes only. And additionally, it's meant not to hurt anyone or not to offend. It's just a place so that we can discuss this topic with levity. And as I mentioned, some of you have been asking for this and sending me some little breadcrumbs, as I would say, starting talking points, and I do have those. And that's what we're going to do next. So before we do that, let's go and base some of this in some of the current news. So CNN has one bullet point, and it says here, the Justice Department has 30 days to release its Jeffrey Epstein-related files after President Donald Trump signed a bill last night directing it to do so. Some lawmakers worry the administration may try to hinder the process by slowing the release or redacting information. This particular article shows the image of United States Attorney General Bondi, and pretty much what is the function of this position is supposed to act as the principal legal advisor to the President of the United States on all legal matters. And but she looks really tired. If you look at this image, it's like, what's going on here? And can't imagine the sleepless days and nights. Oh my Lord. And then swing over and look at Kash Patel. Oh my God, he's looking pretty ragged himself. He is the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And his particular role is to see over those day-to-day operations, including violations of federal law, gathering evidence, collecting criminal stats, and maintains reports directly to the Attorney General and to the President of the United States. But man, look at that face. Whoa. It looks like his eyes have been opened beyond what he wanted them to be open for, right? Backstory here from an article back in 2019 from the United States Attorney's Office from the Southern District of New York. Jeffrey Epstein charged in Manhattan federal court with sex trafficking of minors. So this is where it all stems from, the sex trafficking of minors. And I'll leave these little headline news here for you to take a look at. But he was allegedly worked with several employees and associates to ensure that he had steady supply of minor victims to abuse, and paid several of those victims themselves to recruit other underage girls to engage in similar sex acts for money. He committed these offenses in locations including New York, and Palm Beach, Florida. And that was then. Now, prior to this recent release of these files, there is an article, again by CNN, where they actually have the headline, Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide and there's no client list, Justice Department says. And the comment on here says, after months of touting the impending release of the new blockbuster information on accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, the Justice Department announced in a memo Monday that there is no evidence he kept a client list or was murdered. And now the thing that we need to remember is that there's an article by Fox News, Fox 7 Austin, where it says, Bondi says Epstein client list, quote, sitting on my desk right now, end quote, and is reviewing JFK, MLK files. And there it adds, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi on Friday said the Jeffrey Epstein client list is sitting on my desk right now, and she is reviewing the JFK and MLK files as well after President Donald Trump's earlier directives. So the question that we common people beg to ask, is there or is there not a list? You said there was a list, but now you say there's no list? Okay, let's start off with a few cards and let's get started with our initial setup here. and this to represent the whole Epstein files, and here the crossing matter with it, and just something where it's coming off of. And then we're going to look at the next question that I'm going to throw over here, which is going to have to do with one of the first questions that I was asked, and that has to do with the issue, and we're going to use here any issue that is in regards to the investigation and any whitewashing that they might do, or the files. There's a lot of you saying, hey, well, there's so much documents and copies of documents that they really can't whitewash it. So we're going to look into that in this particular card here. So let's take a look at the first one that shows up. Okay, so by looking at this particular card, the Two of Swords. First, obviously, you want to say, well, it looks like they're going to be this is a no-go, but on the opposite, the two of Swords here is indicating that something will be revealed. Something will come out of this new investigation. There's so many eyes on this that yes, there's inevitably something new will resurface, especially when there's so many different points of view and different eyes looking at it. There will be an issue that will be revealed. So something will be revealed. And the fact that these swords are also going to be dropped, it's like they can't be they can't manipulate anymore because there's too many eyes on it. And it's going to make them look bad. And we're talking about them as referring those that are in charge of doing the investigation. I want to look at the second card here as it refers to the Epstein files themselves. Now that we know that something will surface, something will come up. And as many of you have already expressed to me, and I'm just going to read some of your emails. One was saying that yes, the victims and their lawyers have evidence to prove what they're saying, and it can't be so much for whitewashed. The other one, in that same line, somebody else made something very similar. Readers have been saying for ages that it's information overseas that will show the real truth. We'll look into that. Okay, the other one, somebody else made a comment in here. They can't clean up the files. There's too many copies, too many trails, too many testimonies. Many of you are saying that they're doomed and kind of here for the entertainment at this point. Another person said, nobody believes that the release files won't be amended and redacted. And some other are saying that the true files will be released or leaked by other countries or security agencies. And some people actually are supporting that might be something that's going to happen, that it's not going to come from U.S. ground, but it's going to come from foreign agencies. So pretty much in reference to the idea, can anything be covered up? Well, obviously, this is a kind of confirming what some of you are saying. Yeah, you can't hide anymore because too many eyes are on it. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Okay, so we see these cups and a lot of energy coming from the Eight of Cups. There's a lot of emotion, and it's very much needed because when you think about what all these cups, this is the overall sentiment, and imagine holding all these emotions, anger, doubt, distrust, all these things, and not just us, the public, but also the victims. And I like how some people are saying the survivors that have finally come out and feel that they are in numbers and that they feel that there is a voice for them. And so that's what we see here. It's like finally there's a way that they can release this. The teapot is now to the point where we've got to let off some steam, and this is one way to do it. So this is an avenue, whether it's a ploy of the government themselves realizing you can't hold this back any longer. This is that sentiment behind it, and that's what the Eight of Cups is showing here. I wanted to take this card here because it's kind of drawing from the past, how we got to this with these files. Well, it's the false victory, and where is this coming from? This false victory. I'm just gonna leave that to you, where how we first started with these files, and we just saw some of the earliest news saying, hey, yeah, that list is on our table, but guess what? The the switch has been flipped, and so false victory for those as they started early with this. Okay, so now this card here, I threw this little extra card here because I kind of want to go into that sentiment about the redacting, the whitewashing, what is around that idea. I want to look at this Epstein files and the idea that could this be covered up? Can they cover it up anymore? You got nowhere to go. The Three of Wands. You don't have anything. You see how we see it this way, and we're talking a very physical matter here as far as the sentiment, also the impulse. You meaning, I guess, the people, and I'm just going to have this vague guess as far as those are in charge of this information, of controlling the information, of sharing the information, of investigating the information. It seems here that they have nothing else to hold on to. They have no more options. The Three of Wands, they have nowhere else to go. You see, when we see the Three of Wands, there's a prospect. You're looking out into the horizon. You see the ships, leaving the coast. But now there's nowhere to go. It's like this investigation, where it's at, this was the only possible outcome. It's like, give the mass what they want and do what is right. Even though, according to, the institutions, they've been doing what is right. Okay, let's look at further. I think we're going to move my crystals from down here to up here. It's much better. All right, okay. So now I have another question that somebody was asking. Okay, so the question is, if there were underage children or minors involved or victims that were sexually abused, why weren't there any arrests? Well, the truth is there was an arrest. It was Epstein himself was arrested under those allegations. So I guess the question would be, were there other parties involved that could be implicated alongside those charges of having sex with minors? This is kind of creepy, because if I have to go with these cards, it says that there's not going to be implications. This card is upside down. Am I disgusted by seeing this? So the question we could ask, is it now? Now? But that somebody's not going to be implicated? That this is going to go unscathed because there's one alleged person that's doing this, and that there weren't others involved in that? I mean, when you listen to so many victims come up, you're like, is it just one person? But that these people are not going to be brought to charges? It's almost unfathomable as a yes or no question. But this is how it stands now. 30 days from now, this might look a little bit different. But as of today, as of what we see, nothing's going to happen. Now we could ask a question, just to because this is all for posterity and just the curiosity, right? Your guess is as good as mine, right? At this stage of the game, see how far this has gone. 2019, and now it's 2025. And the person that was allegedly accused of all this is conveniently dead, committed suicide, so they say. And the list apparently was there, but now it's not. And interesting, So the question, let's in all fairness, let's ask the next question, which would be 30 days from now. Supposedly it says 30 days because now they're working on the redaction and protecting blah, 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 whatever they say. So 30 days from now, will there be charges against others that may arise from this investigation in regards to the illegal sex acts? Really? Well, some things are going to get cleared out, but I'm not sure if it's going to be in reference to this illegal acts. So I want to go back to this idea because something is going to be revealed. You know, like in the minds of the legal system, as many of you know, and I'm not a legal person, I'm not an attorney, but I've learned that the law sometimes hangs on one word. So if we're going back to anyone that can pull up the original arresting report for Epstein, and what were those charges, and are these do they have to do with trafficking? And you know, the question is now that if it was just for the trafficking and the abuse, was he the only one that was involved in the trafficking and in the abuse? Then pretty much the offender is gone when you think about it that way, right? And the other issue would be, I'm imagining, are these victims accusing just him, that he would bring them to wherever, whether it's in the New York area, the Florida area, or the famous Epstein Island? I don't know. But how do the victims now move on if it was just based on the charges that Epstein was the only person involved? How do they move on? There's really no reconciliation. There's a lot of loss. There's a lot of damage, spiritually, mentally, physically, for these people. Like, how do they find justice? So there's the big issue here. Now, going back to this card, if they're going to find out issues beyond sex, are there issues that are going to come out from these files that will possibly lead into other investigations outside of sex crimes? Yes. So I don't want to hang this on too long. Just kind of wanted to tell you that maybe in the next 30 days, we're not going to see much as far as the sex reports quite yet. Definitely something will be revealed, and it will be beyond. It will be beyond sex crimes. There will be other crimes, other things that are going to show up. Out of curiosity, we could ask questions like, these other crimes, do they involve people, important people in business and government within our country? And do these also implicate people in leadership, business, and leadership positions in other governments? Yes. Yes. Everything is just so tragic about this whole case. It's already been 5 years. The person who was allegedly charged for all this is no longer here with us, committed suicide, allegedly committed suicide. And the statute of limitations for child trafficking, so I heard, doesn't expire. So is there anybody else that's behind that? We will see, right? But why did they hold these files so long? Is it because of additional crimes by other people, not only here in the United States, but leaders and others abroad? It'll be interesting to see. Hopefully you've enjoyed this session. Thank you so very much. Leave me your comments. I'd like to hear what you think about this. Like, share, and subscribe.